What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and quite a good performance and result today from the team. Really impressed with, honestly, some players that I didn't think I'd be impressed with today. But overall, I mean, it was a good performance, good quality win, 3-0 away from home. And it's coming after a very good performance from Arsenal beating Fulham 5-1, and Tottenham got the win yesterday. Right before Liverpool and Man City play today, I mean, it's a good setup for us because one of these two teams, if not both of them, can drop points. So now we have a chance to, if they tie, now we're top of the table with them again. If one of them lose, then we are ahead of one of them and 2 points behind the other again. So it's a very good setup for us. It's a good way for us to put ourselves in a good position, put pressure on these two teams, and sort of separate ourselves again from Arsenal and Tottenham, who are right behind us. So with all that being said, I do want to focus on Sarri again at the beginning of this because I don't really want to take away from how the team performed today. And honestly, I feel like some of my opinions of Sarri and his decision-making, his performances, I feel like is taken away from the performances of the team. To be completely honest, the reason why we're doing so well is because the team is performing so well. Because some of the players like Hazard, like Pedro, like Giroud, like Conte, like Kovacic, like Azpilicueta and Rudiger. Some of these players have been playing so well that even though Sarri's decision-making hasn't been the best, even though he's been putting in players that I don't think deserve to play, he's been making subs that haven't been affecting the game, it hasn't really hurt us that much yet. Now, obviously, we had a couple games where we needed him to do something and he didn't, and we ended up with a draw. But aside from that, though, it's been a good start to the season because of how people have been playing. But we do need to talk about Sarri because, like I said, there are going to be games like the West Ham game, like the Liverpool game, where we need the manager to make decisions that's going to help the team, that's going to affect the game, and he didn't. And once again today, it's the same exact thing. And honestly, even the tactics that we set up with, it feels like, first of all, the one big thing I noticed from today, and it's something that just sort of hit me, we took a corner and literally nobody challenged for it. It was a front post ball, nobody's going for it, and it's just easily headed away. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't think of one time this year we've actually looked dangerous on corners. And that's not something that's been a key part of our game before. Normally, corners are where we dominate. Corners are where when we get a corner, it's exciting. It's like, yes, we're going to get a chance. We might score. This year, I haven't felt that. Anytime it's a corner, it's like, okay, well, we better set up for a counterattack. Okay, well, we better make sure we keep possession. It feels like he hasn't worked on that at all. It feels like we've become worse under Sarri doing corners. So I'm kind of disappointed with that. And on top of that, the one big thing that I feel like would help a lot, one person on the other side at the top of the box. So simple. How many times today did the ball go all the way through to the other side of the box and nobody's there? And we have to go chase and then come out, and by then Southampton's already regrouped. Why not have somebody there? It would be so simple. The flick-ons, the ones where it just dribbles all the way through, the ones where the cross is too heavy and it goes to the other side of the box, all of those problems could be solved if somebody's standing over there, if somebody's ready to attack it over there. But nobody goes over there. I'm like, why is nobody noticing this? Why are none of the coaching staff saying, hey, look at this. This is an easy solution. We just put somebody over there. But nothing's changing. It's still the same. It's still the exact same. You look at the subs today. It's still the same. What subs needed to happen? Well, first of all, William's not having a good game again. So Pedro needs to be the first one on. He's not. You look in the midfield. Barkley having a really good game today. Conte really performing well. Jorginho, defensively he's not helping us. Passing wise, he still makes good passes, but he's giving the ball away a bit too. Probably Jorginho needs to come off. Nope, Kovacic for Barkley again. Those two just keep rotating. That's the only subs he's making. And on top of all of this, guess who the first sub is? Again, Murata for Giroud. God, that helps us so much when you take off a striker who's a big body, who's going to attack the ball, who's going to put pressure on the defense, who's going to run and check in and show for feet. When you take him off and then throw on a striker who runs behind the defense. Every time. Behind the defense. And there he goes again. Guys, why can't you find him? He's running behind the defender again. That's what he does all the time. You should know where to play the ball. Find him behind the defender. I don't understand why this is always the first sub. It's not helpful. It doesn't give us anything different. It doesn't help us whenever we are ahead or behind. And yet it's still the first sub in every single game. Not every game, over-exaggerating. But in almost every game, it feels like this is the very first sub. Just swap the strikers. Bring on Murata, even though he brings you way less than Giroud does. Oh, but he scored today. Oh, but he scored against Vidi. Okay, first of all, Vidi, we only beat them 1-0 at home. That's embarrassing. The fact that we couldn't find a goal until the second half. Come on. That's just awful. And then today, I mean, it's a great ball from Hazard. It's the one time Murata actually keeps himself onside. Yeah, he scored. Congratulations. It wasn't a whole lot to do with him. The finish was nice. I'll give him that. But you can also look at earlier whenever he missed his finish and say, that's still a problem, though. He should have 2 goals today, and he ended up with 1. Not a great turnout from a striker. Honestly, he could have had 3, but anyway. So, yeah, as far as Sarri is concerned, I'm still not pleased with the decisions he's making. I'm not pleased with the subs he's making. Honestly, you look at the team that he has on the bench. You've got Fabregas on there. You've got Cahill on there. You've got Zappacosta on there. All players that are kind of useless, in my opinion. And then you've got Murata that's coming off the bench. Kind of useless. Where's Loftus-Cheek? Where's Hudson-Odoi? Where are these young players that we can get excited about? Oh, we'll play them in the Europa League. Actually, no, we're just going to play Loftus-Cheek. Never mind. Hudson-Odoi, just go back to the youth team. We don't really need you, even though Sarri said, oh, he's got a part in this team. We don't really need you this year. I don't have any reason to get excited about the subs anymore. And that's a problem. You know, because while the team is performing well, while the players are doing well, I don't feel excited whenever we have to make subs, when we have to make changes, because 1, they're the exact same changes that I can predict every single game, and 2, there's nobody exciting to bring off the bench. You look at these other teams, you know, you look at Arsenal today. They're bringing Aubameyang off the bench. They're bringing this young kid, the 19-year-old Guendouzi or whatever. They're bringing him off the bench. They've got changes that they're making that are affecting the game, and then let them dominate the rest of the game. You look at us, we're ahead 2-0, and we're bringing Murata off the bench. And then we're making the Pedro Williams switch again. And then we're taking off Barkley, who had a good game today, taking him off for Kovacic. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating to watch. It's frustrating from my point of view because I want to get excited. I want to be like, yes, another game, let's go. But I can't feel that way because I know what to expect. I know what to expect from Sarri. Now, as far as what's going on the field, that's something that we can get excited about because we are playing well. But whenever it comes to the second half, I'm not excited anymore. Because typically we start off the second half slow. Typically the subs, are always the same. So, yeah, there's just a lot of problems with this. There's a lot of issues that I don't think are being addressed that Sarri just tends to ignore, it looks like. So, yeah, anyway, with all that being said, let's look at the team. Because, as I said, it was a good performance today. Kepa had to make a couple good saves, so that's good to see. But at the same time, there are still moments when it feels like he's not really in control of the box and of the players around him, and that's an issue. You want your keeper to be in control, in charge, making sure the defenders are not taking the ball away from him. But he's not that type of keeper. He's not confident enough. So he's still got a lot of room to grow, but good to see that he made a few really good saves today. Into the defense, Spilicueta on the right looked a lot better today. Mainly defensively. In the attack, he still has that issue of it seems like he just doesn't know where to put that final ball, and so either he dribbles into pressure or he takes too many touches and he has to play it back, and by then the attack is gone. So want to see a bit more from him on the attack because he's had to make this switch back to fullback position, and he has to be a lot more attack-minded now. You want to see him grow into it, and he still hasn't reached that point yet. But defensively today, very good, very hard worker. So good from him on that side of things. Rudiger, similar, just very good defensively today, very good at cutting off passes. Made a couple mistakes here and there, but made up for him with his hard work back in. So I still really like Rudiger in the back. I still feel like he's our best defender at the moment. And then David Luiz on the other side, still our worst defender at the moment. Just At times it feels like he doesn't really know what he's doing. It feels like he doesn't really put himself in a good position to read things. I mean, how many chances are we going to let that just drop right over his head to a striker behind him, and he and Alonso are just completely lost. Which, on that note, I do also want to mention, has Sarri made a deal with the devil? Because I swear we have let way too many chances come right in the 6-yard box, and so many teams have just skied it every single time. I swear he's made a deal with the devil, and it's just like, there's some sort of demonic stuff going on out there, and the demons are like going out and pulling the players down, so they're like, oh no, and kicks it straight up. Because it's a little weird how many times we've given up chances right in the 6-yard box, and they've missed. Like, it's not like, oh, we put in a good challenge and put them off. No, they missed. Bertrand had one, and Ings had one. I'm just like, how? I think part of it is like the ball comes to them and they're like, oh, wow, this is so easy. And they're so shocked by how easy it is that they just completely miss. No, but it's just too many moments where he turns off defensively and there's not enough pressure. There's not enough good defensive work from him. And same from Alonso, he's not providing enough defensive work rate. He's not helping out David Luiz as far as tracking runners, talking to him. It feels like they're so disconnected on that side, and at times it's where the best run of play comes from, is whenever teams are coming down our left side. So really frustrating there. And on that note also, I will say Alonso used to be, okay, the reason he's on the field is because attack-wise, he brings a lot. He scores goals, he puts in good crosses. He really does a lot on the other side of the field. But he's not doing that anymore. He's not scoring. He's not assisting. The crosses he's putting in are terrible. He dribbles into pressure too much. He doesn't really create enough for us anymore. So why is he on the field? Why aren't we trying to find somebody to replace him? Because we don't have anybody, and that's a transfer problem. Into the midfield, I already talked about them enough. Barkley, like I said, very good game. Got behind the ball. The first goal, completely Barkley, where we were struggling to get chances. We were struggling to create anything. We had a lot of possession, but nothing to show for it. And Southampton were starting to come back at us and creating chances and putting us to the sword and nearly finishing these chances. And then all of a sudden, Hazard loses the ball, gives it to Højbjerg, and Barkley does a great job closing it down, winning it back, and puts Hazard through. Now, I will say, Højbjerg, terrible mistake from him that lets Barkley have it. But good work from Barkley to see Hazard making the run and find the pass in. Because he still has to do that after he wins it. So he did a great job there. But it was a good job to close it down in the first place. And after that, it was like from that point on, Barkley just turned it on and he was really involved in the game. He was creating good chances. Like a minute later, ball comes into the box and he's on the end of it and he does well to challenge the defender and nearly creates a chance from it. So I think today the work rate was a lot better from him and it felt like he was being more effective on the ball as well. So I was really disappointed to see him come off. I wanted to see more from him. I wanted to see how he'd finish out the game, and then he comes off. Sucks. Jorginho in the middle, like I said, not bad passing-wise. He has some really good passes. He does some really good stuff on the ball. But defensively just doesn't bring enough. There was a couple moments where dribbling going on at the top of our box, and you just want somebody to step in, get the ball out. Put that challenge in, win it. And he's leaning back. He's like sticking a foot in like he's scared. I'm like, first of all, that's how you give up fouls at the top of the box. Second of all, that's how you give up chances at the top of the box. And the Redmond chance where he gets it and has so much time to just set up the perfect volley, where's Jorginho? He's still running back in. He's still tracking back slowly. That's not good enough from your defensive mid. And it's why Conte in that position is the best in the world, because he wouldn't let those chances happen. He wouldn't let players dribble at the top of the box. He's not going to shut down everything, but he's going to shut down at least 30% more than what Jorginho is bringing to the field right now. So I'm just really frustrated with the fact that we're not seeing that we're not putting ourselves in a good position to defend, because that's also, it's not just attack. You can't just focus on attack and be good at attack. You have to defend at some point too. And we're not defending well enough. And some of it comes from that midfield role, the fact that Jorginho isn't helping us enough there. And I'm frustrated that nothing's changing about it. And then Conte, he's still being sort of pushed further down the field, which means he's not getting back to help out defensively, which is what he was born to do. It's why he's one of the best in the world, because he defends so well. But let's put him in the attack. It's just... But with that being said, on the attack today, he did look really good. He had some good moments on the ball, made some good runs again. So he's showing the attack side of him as well this season. He has some good games. He has some bad games. But I still just feel like you put him in that role that Jorginho is in right now, he wouldn't do as well with the distributing, but I think defensively we'd look so much more solid with Conte just sitting in there and busting up everything. And even, I don't understand why we haven't considered this yet. Instead of doing one with two midfielders, why not go two with one midfielder? Because it would work. I tell you it would work, because it would just make so much more sense to have Conte doing his job with Jorginho also doing his job right beside each other, and Kovacic being the one that runs back to back. But I digress. Up to the front three, Hazard obviously had another good game today with a goal and an assist. Just really taking the pressure to him, really putting a lot of good hard work in. And it's something that I think whenever he's playing his best is when we look our best. So we really need him to stay on top of it and stay continuing to be healthy and strong and powerful, because honestly, that's what we need this year. With the way things are going for us, if he's not performing well, we typically don't perform well. And Sarri doesn't have any changes to make that can help us perform well. So he really needs to stay on top of his game, because we need him to. And then Willian on the other side, once again, just not bringing much of anything. Honestly, now that Pedro's back healthy, I do expect Pedro to probably start as soon as he's 100%. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised. I don't think Moses was on the bench today. I don't think. I'll go back and look to make sure. But I'm pretty sure Moses wasn't on the bench today, which I feel like is very disappointing because of how well Moses did with the couple chances he got. But once again, it's another decision that Sarri made that I'm just kind of like, why? Why not give Moses more of a chance? He's playing well. Willian's not doing enough. There you go. But no. And then Giroud up top. For most of the game, kind of felt like he wasn't really involved. Kind of felt like he wasn't really getting the right runs. Like he wasn't really putting in as much of a challenge as he normally does. But once you hit that, it was like the 5 minutes before he got the assist for Barkley's goal, and then for a little bit afterwards as well. It felt like he stepped it up, looked a lot better. And that's what we needed from him for most of the game, honestly. To become not just a good performance, but a great performance today, we needed him to perform like he did for those 10 minutes before he came off the entire game. Because then we would have just dominated them. It probably could have been 4-5-0, and they wouldn't have had as many chances as they did. And as far as the subs, Murata, I complain about him a lot, and I feel like I have good reason to, because he's not changing his style of play. I've talked about it so much. When you're a striker, if all you do is run behind the defense time and time and time again, and especially at a team like Chelsea, ignore the dogs, especially at a team like Chelsea where teams are going to sit in, it's not going to provide anything. It's the same thing that happened with Torres. He was a great striker at getting in behind, making those great runs, putting a lot of pressure on the counterattack. But then he came to Chelsea where the counterattacks don't happen as much as they did at Liverpool, and he's not as effective. Murata, same thing with Real Madrid. The way that teams play in La Liga, it's very quick, just boom, boom, boom. Defenses don't really track runs as much, and so he's able to get in behind a lot easier. And the play was there on Real Madrid as well, because they're looking for that. With Chelsea and in the Premier League, that's not how teams play. They don't play with this kind of quick passing style. Even with Sarri coming in, we've started passing it a bit more, but it's still not the same type of passing that you would see in La Liga. It's more like possession at the top of the box and then waiting for a run down the line to get the ball in. And that's not Murata's game. He's waiting for somebody to find him in behind the defense, and it's not there. The space isn't there. The defenders are aware of that, and they're going to cut that off every time. And on top of that, you're not showing us anything because you're running behind the defender, and we're waiting for the striker to check too. So it's all these little things that it's not changing, and continuing to hurt us whenever he's on the field. And, the goalie scored. A lot of people are going to say, oh, it was a great finish. Yeah, he had one good finish out of how many has he missed this year? And realistically, the thing that we need to talk about in that goal was the great play. Just the boom, 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 and then slipped in behind for him to score. All those passes, somebody needs to count how many passes there were that just led up to that, because that was brilliant. The other subs, Pedro came on. I didn't really see a whole lot from him, honestly. And same thing from Kovacic. I did see a little bit more from Kovacic. He was a bit more positive, mainly because he's in the midfield, and that's where the ball was for majority of the last part of the game. So he was more involved overall. But anyway, with all that being said, it's a good 3-0 win. It's a good performance. I still have my issues with Sarri. I still have my frustrations with him that I feel like is going to hurt us later on down the road. But we are where we are. We're still challenging the top teams. We're in there. We're in the shout. A lot of people are still discounting us because it's like, oh, but look how powerful Man City and Liverpool are. We're right there with them. And I feel like, honestly, aside from Man U, I feel like most of the teams at the top this year are looking a bit better. They're looking like this is going to be a bit more competitive this year. Man City, they're having a little bit of a slump since winning the league last year. Liverpool have stepped up their game a little bit, which means now they can challenge. Sarri has come in. We're looking a lot more attacking, which means we're going to be putting some of these games that last year we slipped up in against the smaller teams. We're putting some of these games to bed because we are so good on the attack. Where it's really going to come down to, and this is something that's happened for us so far this season, is when we face the top teams. When we face Man City, when we face Liverpool, when we face Arsenal, when we face Tottenham, if we face Man U. When we face these teams, this is where we're going to be challenged. We're going to face a team that is just as good as us, that has good attack. Are we going to be able to defend well against them? And are we going to be able to, if we go down, get ourselves back into the game? Because we know some of these teams are going to put in early goals because of how high they press, how quickly they press. So we're going to have to answer for that. And unfortunately, this is where I think Sarri is going to be kind of the runt of the litter, in that there are no changes that he makes that feel positive. There's nothing he does that feels like it can affect the game when we face the top teams. Unless we have, Pedro or Giroud or Hazard sitting on the bench to bring off, which in most of those games, they're already going to be starting. So I just feel like when we get to those moments, that's where he's going to be made to answer. That's where we're going to slip up some more and probably start to slowly drop near the bottom of the top four. Going to be kind of competing with probably either Arsenal or Tottenham for that fourth place. While, everybody else is just kind of like, yeah, we're good. We're flying up the table. So once we hit those games, that's where I feel like it's going to be time for Judgment Day. Is that a good? I guess that's a good term to put for it. But either way, though, that's what my thinks are. Yeah, I'm definitely not exhausted and making up words today. Those are my thoughts on the game today. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts? Talk about it and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next game. Peace out.